What's up, guys? Horror Man back for another review. So today we're going to take a look at the ultimate TV series Chucky figure. Now this is what I believe the first figure to come out from this TV show based on pretty much any brand. I don't remember seeing anything from this show so far. So it looks like NECA is going to be the first one to give us our TV series Chucky, which is pretty cool. Now just taking a look at the packaging, it's pretty much what you'd expect for an ultimate figure at this point. You got that nice box with the really cool image of Chucky on the front. You have the TV series logo on there, it just says Ultimate TV Series Action Figure. You get the same logo at the top of the box. Get some of the credits at the bottom along with the UPC. Over to the side you do start to see some pictures of the figure itself. You got them in this cool little kind of like window box opening frame. Same frame on the other side, but it has a different face sculpt. Over to the back of the box, you do get some really cool pictures of the figure itself with all the different expressions he comes with. You get the TV series logo, and it also gives you a little description of what's included inside of the box. You also have the flap in the front, which will reveal the figure inside, and you can see all the different contents. And then over to the other side, you just get a really cool picture of the figure. So let's go ahead and get this outside the packaging and have a closer look. Alright, so here's the included backdrop for Chucky that's inside of the box. I really do like this one. It's done with a bit of a matte finish, so it shows up better under my lights than some of the other ones have. I like the setting. You just have the school with the lockers, the hallway, just your basic school setup. And I think it'd go really well with any version of Chucky, whether it be the movies or the TV show. And I can't thank NECA enough for including these because they're very specific to the characters. And aside from printing them at home, you really probably couldn't get this anywhere else. So I really do like this. So if people like do toy photography like me, you'll definitely enjoy this one. So let's go ahead and move on with the review. And we'll start by taking a look at all the different head sculpts that come with Chucky, starting with the one that's already on his body. Alright, so here's the first head sculpt for Chucky, and again, this is the one that's on him inside of the packaging. And I do really like this one. This might actually be my favorite. I really like the hair on here. It's done really well. It's a bit longer than some of the other Chuckies have been, but I think it's more accurate. I feel like the first Ultimate Chucky, some of the head sculpts, the hair was a little bit too short. But I really do like this one. The brow isn't as crazy, but it's really cool looking. I like the eyes, just really nice details for something so small. And once you turn his head just a little bit again, you can see the brows just got a little bit of anger going in there, not too much. You can see some more like details in his cheek and his lip, and of course you got that like butt chin going. You got the little freckles, just a little drawn on eyebrows. So yeah, man, again, I really like the details in this head sculpt. And then here's a quick shot of the back of his head, and again, the hair is done really nice, really good texturing. And from what I could tell, at least 3 of the head sculpts do appear to have all the same hair. You can even see in the back, it's pretty much all the same. They mainly just changed the face sculpts. Now, like I said, you do get 4 different head sculpts with this Chucky. You get this basically like a teeth, kind of like a happy psycho kind of face. He's like gritting his teeth, but that one looks really good. You also get this open mouth head sculpt, and I really like that one. He's kind of like screaming. Really nice details on that. You can see his brow looks pretty crazy. And then the final head sculpt you get is this kind of like melted, disgusting, like zombie looking Chucky, and that's from a scene toward the end of season 1, I believe, with a fire. But it looks really cool and scary, kind of like a Freddy Krueger version. Alright, so to get the head sculpt off, it should be fairly simple. You just want to pop this off at the neck. I have to do this off camera, sorry about that. It just has that little peg. Actually, it's a fairly large peg. And then you want to take that new head sculpt, Try to do this on camera. Yeah, not too bad. And then we get that screaming head sculpt Chucky. Alright, and here is that screaming, like, open mouth Chucky head sculpt. And I don't know, man, this might actually be my favorite one. This one is pretty damn good. I kid you not, they actually sculpted teeth inside of the mouth, like each tooth. It looks insane. I'm not sure if I can get a close-up enough to show that, but I'll definitely try. But yeah, man, he looks really good. The details in the face are excellent. I love this kind of like the brow, just looks so angry. Really nice head sculpt here. And just look at the eyes, man. I mean, he just looks insane here. This is definitely a really, really nice Chucky expression. Very happy with this. And just a zoomed in shot of the teeth, that's about as best as I can do. But again, there's definitely a lot of sculpting going on inside of the mouth. Alright, and here's that kind of smiling, Chucky, like deranged, teeth gritting head sculpt, and I really like this one too. Matter of fact, all three so far, in my opinion, have been home runs. I mean, I really think NECA knocked this one out of the park. Just all three look fantastic. Now, there's one little extra detail with this sculpt that I didn't see in the other ones, and there's a bit of like scratching to his face, and it's not like a QC issue. It's like the doll itself had like wear going on, like little lines in his face, especially toward like the bottom half of the face. But yeah, just a little bit of extra detail in this one that I really like. Yeah, man, these head sculpts are just fantastic. I really like this expression, very much the look of Chucky. So in order to get the final head sculpt, you will have to take off the head and the arm. So you want to pop that left arm off. It comes off just like that. And you'll basically see that hole that you want to put in this scarred, burnt up arm. So really good details in that. See the hand is a little burned up along with the tattered sleeve and the kind of disgusting blood and everything else coming out here. And then you just want to pop in that new arm. And once you get the head and the arm on, you can see that it's kind of seamless how like the nastiness from the head sculpt goes right down to the arm. So it's supposed to look like it's all kind of together burned at the same time. So I really like the way that comes together. And just focusing on the head sculpt, you can see he is a disgusting mess. He basically is like Chucky Krueger. So I mean, he is really nasty looking. You can see the hair is kind of like combed over, part of the burnt up, bloody, disgusting, zombie-looking face. You can see he looks very sad on the one side. His eyes kind of sloped down, kind of like Jason Part 3 or something. But yeah, it looks really, really good. And here's what the back of this Chucky looks like. You can see where the burnt up, kind of bloody carnage is on that other side. And here's just one more angle of that face, kind of more straight on. Again, it's a really nice looking sculpt. It's definitely a different head sculpt for a Chucky. Now one thing I'll do real quick, because I won't do it in the articulation segment, I do want to show you that one downside to this particular head sculpt is the articulation. Because of that flap and how far it hangs over on his face, you really only get a little bit of movement on there. You really can't look much more than a little bit to his right and a little bit of up and down. But nonetheless, you can't deny the details in it. It does look pretty damn scary. Alright, so looking at the rest of the figure, it does appear that they use the same body they used for the Ultimate Chucky and like the Bride of Chucky set. I really don't see any real differences between those two. The only differences are pretty much what you'd expect. So different hands, different heads. But they actually did do different feet this time, which is one of the complaints I had about with the older Chucky releases, the Ultimate releases. So just looking at the body here, you do have, of course, the stripe shirt like you see with the other Chucky figures. And then, of course, you get his blue little overalls, and they look really good as well. I like the color of this blue far more than the other releases. And here's the back of the torso. Again, you can see the straps from the overalls and some of the different designs in the different outfit. And one thing I'll say about this too, besides the blue being really good, I think the colors in general are a bit more vibrant. Aside from maybe the stripes on the shirt not having so much colors in them, there is a couple more little pieces, like different details like you didn't see in the other releases. So you can see how much different color these overalls are. And then there's just a couple different designs I can't see in this one that I could see in that one. So definitely a little bit of extra detail. And then here is his legs, and again, some really nice details going on. And speaking of really nice details, I do want to talk about the shoes. So the shoes look really nice, pretty much what you'd expect from the other Chuckies we've seen so far. However, he has details in the bottom of his feet. And these details are very important to me. They are very small, but again, very important, especially if you're a Chucky fan. These are the good guy's shoes, and they should have those little markings on the bottom of his feet. But the Ultimate Chuckies beforehand did not. So neither of the regular Ultimate Chucky or that more like, Bride of Chucky version, neither of them had that detail. So I really like that this version does. The only other versions that had this detail were the older Chuckies and the retro versions. Now, one downside of them sculpting the bottom of the shoes, of course, is that you won't get those peg holes, but honestly, I don't think you really need it for this figure. He seems to stand just fine. Alright, so taking a look at the articulation for Chucky, it's pretty much what you would expect since it is using the same Ultimate body. Now his hair is a little bit longer, so it's a little bit tougher to turn his head all the way to the side, but he turns around just fine. He can look down a little bit, he can look up a little bit, not crazy amount, but just good enough, and he can kind of turn his head a little bit, but again, the hair will kind of get in the way just a bit. The arms will go out into that like T pose. You can get the arm going all the way up, he's raising his hand, and you can get it to go all the way down, which is nice. He does just have that standard single jointed elbow, but it actually gets way more than 90, so you'll be able to get that nice knife pose, kind of like you see on the front of the box. And both arms, yeah, they turn pretty good. I don't think you really need that other double hinged articulated elbow. He can move his body a little bit, but there's really not much in that torso. He can bend pretty good, but he'll definitely fall. The legs can do a pretty good split. They go out and back pretty good. Single jointed knee, good enough. You should be able to get him in a sitting pose, which is cool. Yeah, he can sit down just fine. And again, the leg goes back about that far, not too much. So overall, not too bad of articulation for Chucky here. Again, what you'd expect. Taking a look at the interchangeable hands, you get two sets. So you get one set of the open hands, which we've looked at through the whole review, and then also the gripping hands, which would be great for the syringe and the included knife. And then you also get this middle finger hand, which looks really cool. So we'll go ahead and put that on real quick. And this is going to be the right hand. So you just want to pop this off. And then just peg that in. It's just a straight peg. Get him posed up a bit. And then we'll go ahead and flip the bird to anyone watching this video apparently. But there's the middle finger pose. So really nice extra hand included here. I didn't really need double middle fingers, so I'm fine with the one. And it's nice to have the gripping hands. So decent interchangeable parts for sure. And just like I had mentioned with one of the head sculpts kind of having this like worn kind of plastic, kind of cracking look to it, I do believe that's intentional, obviously. And this hand is pretty much the same, where it has like some cracking and some wrinkling. So if you look at like this regular hand, it looks normal, whereas this one has a bit more character to it. So you can see some like cracks going through it and such. So pretty nice little extra detail. For the first accessory, here he is with the kitchen knife, which is a classic, iconic Chucky weapon. So I'm very happy they included this one. And it's really nicely done. I like the tone of silver. It's not like a gloss. It's more of a matte finish. Really nice looking. A few little details in the handle look really good. I think they did this particular accessory really well. And then here's his only other accessory, which is the syringe bundle, which is a pretty creepy weapon. Pretty cool looking. I do like this one. He can hold it very well in those gripping hands, and he looks pretty menacing holding it. And here's one more angle of the syringe bundle, just to show you that they do have like a liquid look to the syringes. So pretty cool and very creepy at the same time. I do think these two weapons are very cool, but I do think they could have squeezed in a couple more, just because 2 weapons for a Chucky seems very light to me. I feel like you should have had something else. Even if it wasn't a weapon, they could have probably added something else to this set. So just a little light on the accessories. Alright, so for the first comparison, here is the Ultimate TV Series Chucky next to the other Ultimate Chuckies previously released by NECA. So you have the Ultimate Child's Play, which basically represents 1 through 3, and also the Curse of Chucky, which is the head sculpt that's on him right now. And then you also have the Bride of Chucky, which basically could be the Seed of Chucky as well. He's got that scarred up, sewn up, stitched up looking face. You can see the big differences in those head sculpts. But the other real big difference is the color. So you can see the color in the overalls is so much better, in my opinion, on the TV series than the other ones. The other ones look more green, whereas the new one looks more blue, or at least like a bluish green on these old ones. But I really like the new colors. It just pops a bit more. I don't know, that's just what I think of when I think of Chucky. I always thought these were more blue. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this new one looks. Since this new version does use the same body, you can put the heads on this new body. So if you want to put the Curse of Chucky on this, it does seem to fit just fine and look really cool in that blue. And here he is with Tiffany, just in case you want to have a Tiffany to go with this version. And this is also from that Bride of Chucky set, and she looks really good next to him. And here he is next to a couple really old NECA Toys Chuckies. So you have the Cult Classics Chucky, and then you also have the Chucky from the Seed of Chucky box set, which came with Tiffany and Glenn. And you can definitely see differences here, especially the size of him. He's much smaller than these guys. And then also the older Chuckies have the more like sewn in hair to make it look like a real doll. So I really do like the hair, to be honest. I kind of wish they would have done one of the head sculpts with this sewn in hair. I think that would have been a nice little addition. But yeah, you can see these Chuckies are way bigger. And for the last Chucky comparison, here he is with a more modern Chucky figure. So this is one of the retro figures that NECA did a few years ago, and it was done through Scream Factory. And what I really like about this version is it looks just like the Good Guy doll. It's not really Chucky per se. It's more like just that lifeless doll look. And I really like that. I do wish they would have included that head for this one. I think it would have gave a bit of incentive to buy maybe 2 or 3 of these, just to have a couple like just lifeless version of the Good Guy doll kind of hanging out with Chucky. So it's a much different size figure too. You can see it is that retro format. I do really like the size of the Ultimate a little bit better. For one more Ultimate comparison, here he is with a couple other NECA Toys Ultimates, a bit more modern as well. You do have the Sam from Trick or Treat, and you can see he's a little bit taller than Chucky. And then you have the Michael Myers from Halloween Kills with that burnt up mask. And then Jason from the 2009 Friday the 13th remake, and that does have a custom mask. Here he is with the Toonie Terrors, Jason and Michael Myers. And then for the final comparison, here he is with a bunch of different NECA retro figures. So you have the Skull costume character from Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. You have the Sam from Trick or Treat, Elvira from Elvira Mistress of the Dark, and then Pennywise from the 2017 It movie. And honestly, I know I've said this before during especially my Chucky reviews, but sometimes these Ultimate figures tend to scale better with the retro figures, and I think Chucky looks really good with all these. Like, he actually looks to scale with them. So even though he is an Ultimate figure, in terms of scale, I think he fits better with your retro figures. Alright, so that's my review of the Ultimate Chucky from the TV series. And overall, I'm really happy with this release. I gotta say, like, the head sculpts in particular kind of steal the show with this one. I mean, the variety of what you get is pretty damn cool. I really like the three main head sculpts. I would say the melted one is definitely going to be an acquired taste. It's definitely not the one I would probably recommend to display as your main Chucky head sculpt. But if you're a fan of that, it is pretty cool, and it definitely kind of delivers that gory Chucky aspect. The one real complaint I have about this one is you just don't get much accessories with it. Again, I love the interchangeable parts, but if it's a Chucky, movie or show, I feel like he would have so many different weapons, or at least something to kind of add to it aside from a knife and a syringe bundle. So that's the only real disappointment for me. But if you have the other Ultimate Chuckies, there is so many accessories within those that you should be able to, accessorize this guy just fine. My only other real complaint about this figure is that you don't get the lifeless good guy doll Chucky head sculpt. Like, I really love that head sculpt. I mean, I feel like that kind of takes away from the release just a little bit. Like, I do think this is pretty wild. The sculpting is amazing for this particular, like, Chucky Krueger head sculpt. But I mean, because they did it, they had to do the arm, they had to do a lot of sculpting to this face, and it makes me think because they did that, they had to skip some of the accessories, and obviously they couldn't do another head sculpt, which would have been 5 head sculpts. So if I had my choice, I would have easily have traded this head sculpt for the good guy doll. That's just a personal opinion. So, but overall, man, I mean, this is an extremely good release, and in terms of Chucky figures, it might be the best one yet. So thanks for watching my review. If you liked the review, go ahead and like it. If you have a comment or question, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below. And until next time, guys, see ya.